Hi, and welcome to the very first episode of A Walk to Remember. My name is Dwayne Baker-Henderson, and I'll be your host as we take a look at the truths and the myths of postpartum depression. We'll also look at some tips, tools, and resources you can use to leverage into your own life to make your journey or someone else's journey a little bit smoother as they go through postpartum depression. My journey with postpartum depression and my family's journey began in 2008, shortly after the birth of my daughter, Kalina. At that time, things looked to be going really well for my wife, Corey, and I. Our relationship was getting stronger all the time. My two businesses were really starting to take off. Our finances were better than they'd ever been. So we were really excited about the future, and especially excited about this new addition to our family. So it came as a huge shock a couple of weeks after Kalina's birth to have things start to change, start to become much more difficult because of postpartum depression. Now, at the time, I knew almost nothing about the illnesses. And I do say illnesses because at the time, I thought it was one thing, but I've come to realize that there's actually 3 illnesses that make up postpartum depression. We'll talk about that a little bit in a later episode, but I had lots of other misconceptions about it as well. For instance, that it only affected new moms. And what I learned was that it wasn't just new moms who were affected. They might be the ones who are exhibiting the symptoms, but it's actually a family-wide issue. And that was the case in my family. It came to affect many, many different aspects of our life. But it can also affect dads directly. It can affect adoptive parents directly. So lots of things I didn't understand about that. I also thought it was really rare. Nobody that I'd ever seen have a baby had ever talked about postpartum depression. I thought that it hardly ever happened out there. I thought that it was something that was not common, something that hardly anybody experienced, which is very wrong, and we'll talk about that as well. Through our journey and through my journey personally with postpartum depression, I learned a lot about myself, about life, about relationships, especially the one with my wife. And in this series of videos, I'd like to share with you some of the lessons that I learned. As well, I will talk to other individuals who have been through some similar experiences. We'll find out what their journey was like, what they learned as well. And I'll also talk to some professionals who can give us some tips and tricks to smooth out the journey. I'll talk to doctors and mental health professionals, physical fitness professionals, nutritionists, lots of different types of professionals who have some insight into this condition. And in every episode, which I'm going to keep very short, very concise, I want to give you one thing at least that you can leverage into your life to make your journey a little bit easier. So in this episode, I want you to know that you're definitely not alone. Like I said, when we started our journey with postpartum depression, isolation was an overwhelming feeling for both Corey and I. We felt very much alone initially. And I started to look at how alone am I really? Are there many people out there who are going through something similar? It's always much more comforting knowing that you're not going through something alone. And my initial research really surprised me. Now I have to say that there's no consensus out there that I could find about a ratio of people who are experiencing postpartum depression. There's not a number that I could find. So I kind of extrapolated some information. I know from looking at a couple of websites, Statistics Canada and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States, that just over 4.3 million babies were born in 2013. Now, that's a lot of babies. So in my misconception that this was really rare, I was thinking there might be a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 or so families who are experiencing postpartum depression. From what I can see, about the average percentage that I could find is about 1 in 6, actually. So it's really common, very much like diabetes or heart disease, cancer, that kind of stuff, and yet it doesn't get any airplay. So with 1 in 6 families experiencing these symptoms, that is just over 700,000 families in these two countries alone, Canada and the US. Now, the city that I live in has just around that many people in the city proper. And that was really comforting for me, knowing that there are that many people out there that were experiencing something similar to what I was experiencing with my family. Now, I didn't personally experience the physical symptoms of postpartum depression, but very much was a witness to what my wife went through, and also as a primary support person, I had to change a lot of what I was doing in order to best support my wife, Corey. So, like I said, it was very much a family-wide effect on us. It affected my relationship with Corey, and also our relationships with our son Graham, with people that we knew outside of our family, our parents and our family and friends. It affected our finances. It affected my businesses. So really, it was one of the most intense experiences I've ever had, and like I said, I learned a lot. So over the course of this series, I'll give you more information, more that you can leverage. But for this episode, know that you're not alone. Look around in your own community. I'm sure that you will find a support group. That's a great thing. And in our next episode, we're going to talk about creating a support network around yourself. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more, please click on the subscribe to this channel, and you'll get a notification every time I put out a new video, which I'm hoping to do every week. Please leave me comments and questions in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you, and we will see you in the next episode. Thanks, and have a fantastic day.